Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. To wrap up this year, I wanted to share with you the 23 things that I did to improve my life in 2023. Number one is probably a bit of a weird place to start, but I mean, we just came off the bat of Christmas, so I kind of feel like it's helpful and it's like relevant. I didn't actually want anything for Christmas this year, and that's not to say I didn't get anything. I got some beautiful gifts, but I did not like want anything. I didn't buy myself anything. And that's something that other years was something I never really experienced, you know. I always had it in the forefront of my mind, like, what am I gonna buy myself for Christmas? I wasn't as craving anything, you know, there was not like any specific material thing or multiple material things, because like I said, like if you've been here for a while, you've seen what I got for Christmas videos, you've seen the excess hauls that I used to create and consume, and the amount of things I would buy myself. And I just didn't have that same urge this year. And I guess I feel pretty content, pretty happy with my life, and there's nothing that I really need. I guess also maybe following on from that, there's been a few things this year that I thought about buying and that I have bought. And I guess maybe it just comes down to as well, like I look back on the last 10 years of my life and some of the incredible things that I've managed to experience, some of the incredible things I've managed to buy and own that you have seen, and things that I never showed you in my personal life. But truly, like they never actually really made me any happier. Like they made me happy for like, you know, maybe a week tops. But then they didn't really add to my happiness anymore, which is maybe why I came to this place now where there's nothing like that's, you know, like I'm desperately craving. There's nothing I'm desperately wanting. Number two, I really heavily focused on my health and fitness, probably more than I have for a really long time. I mean, I've always loved going to the gym. I've always liked being fit, but my health and my well-being really took a front seat. My misdiagnosis of type 2 diabetes and getting off the contraceptive pill, getting off hormonal birth control, I think really catapulted me into this space. And while I was also kind of breaking away from my shopping addiction, focusing on my well-being, focusing on my health, and also recognizing that my health as a whole really could contribute to kind of breaking away from unhealthy spending habits. You know, if I focused on my well-being, if I focused on my health and my wellness, that would kind of fade off into the background, which is exactly what happened. Number three, that staying true to yourself is always, and probably will forever be so much more important than pleasing others. And I really learned that this year when I changed YouTube niches. The amount of comments and the amount of messages that I still receive to this day telling me that I've changed, and not even necessarily in a good way. Like these messages, and they used to really hurt me and they used to make me really upset. And they were just like almost like a disappointed mother kind of energy. You used to be someone that I really enjoyed watching. I'm really disappointed to see you step away from this. I'm really upset by it. Part of me was like, oh my God, like I've upset people, I've done something wrong. But really when it comes down to it, I cannot, and you cannot let that step in your way. Like hearing people tell me I've changed and having them say it in a negative way, like what's the alternative? I just say, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'll just return to my old dimensions and my old mental headspace and just be the same person throughout my whole life. Like that's not gonna work. It's never gonna be the case. Everybody changes. I mean, I'd like to say everyone changes, but some people don't. I think in the past, I've always tried to live my life to please other people. And this was the first time that, I mean, as much as those comments really upset me, I had no interest in pleasing other people. Number four, I spoke about this in a recent video and I'm gonna have that linked, and it was about treatments and just beauty treatments and beauty procedures that I don't subscribe to and I don't take part in. And it was this realization that I came to in 2023, that this was the year that I spent the least amount of money on my physical appearance, the least amount of money on my clothes, my makeup, my hair, my beauty, my wardrobe, but it was weirdly the most confident and most happiest I've ever felt, which is just a complete flip. Like that's like old mentality was like, no, like the more we spend on our physical appearance, it's like almost something we're also told as women, that the more we spend on our looks, the more we spend on our clothes, the more we spend on our physical appearance, the happier we'll be, the better we'll feel. But weirdly, the math wasn't mathing, because I weirdly feel happier than I've ever felt. I feel more comfortable, more confident, and more beautiful than I've ever felt. Spending less. Number five, I fostered my friendships. I made more effort with my friendships than I ever have before. And I mean, don't get me wrong, okay, don't get it twisted. I am still an awful texter. I'm a horrible texter, but I like to think that I've made more of an effort this year. And this was actually one of my New Year's resolutions, and that was to at least make contact or at least see one friend a week. And I know that may not seem like a lot, but I'm naturally quite a hermit. I'm naturally quite introverted. But I also recognize the value in friendships and the importance that a lot of these women that I adore play in my life. So it was really important to me to make an effort. And I know this may sound kind of like weird, but I started treating these friendships a bit like a job. And it may sound a bit boring, but putting that work in, putting that work in, making an effort. Don't get twisted. Like I said, I'm not going to be on here. Like I'm not someone who's going to be texting for hours. I'm just not. But really making more of an effort with my friendships made the world of difference for me. Number 6, I became an amateur in something. I mean, you may have heard from my earlier videos around like March, April, really got into a variety of different hobbies, and some of them stuck, some of them didn't. But learning and just becoming comfortable with being an amateur, I think is so important. I think it's important to continuously do things throughout your life that are new, that are different, that you're not an expert at. It was scary, made me nervous, it was hard, I didn't always like it. But like looking back on it, I'm really glad I did it. Okay, so number 7, maybe a little bit weird. But I weirdly had a bit of a life lesson in something so small as firing my cleaners and cleaning my own house again. I haven't actually cleaned my own house for like maybe 5 years, 5, 6, 7 years maybe. And cleaners are quite common now. A lot of people have cleaners. Obviously it's more of a very much a privilege, and it's considered a luxury, I guess. But I think they're very much more common now. And I actually fired my cleaners a few months ago, and I started cleaning my own house. And don't get me wrong, okay? Like I'm not a pig, I'm not a slob. I do clean, like I clean up after myself, but I would always have cleaners come in a fortnight and like, deep clean my house. Turns out it got to the point where like slowly over the year, they were just progressively doing a horrible job. They were doing a horrible job. And when I talked about this on Instagram, the amount of people I had reach out to me and said they had the exact same experience, I felt so seen. Okay? It must just be a thing. It must be really hard to find great cleaners. But I honestly was weirdly so like put off, overwhelmed, like really dreading cleaning my house because I think it's a big job. Like I used to have 3 people come and do it, take them 2 hours. And I'm thinking, oh my God, like where am I gonna find 6 hours in a fortnight? Where am I gonna find that? I was really scared. I was like, how am I gonna do this? Anyway, it's actually been something that I've weirdly started to enjoy. I've started to weirdly enjoy the process of cleaning my own home. And it's something that's like weirdly therapeutic. I switch off, it's like a mindfulness activity. And can I just say, I think I clean my house so much better than anyone that I've ever paid to clean my house has. I don't actually need to take as long because I keep my house cleaner, and I think I do a better job, which actually means it's easier to clean my house. And it's this weird thing that I think maybe some of us experience in our 20s, that it's like there's certain things that we pay for, certain services or certain things we feel we need to buy, and that's kind of like cements the fact that we've like made it. And weirdly, having someone clean my house was always that in my head. Like if I had cleaners, weirdly, I'm like, oh, I must be doing okay. Like, I've made it. That sounds so stupid, but like 17, 18-year-old Caitlin, high school Caitlin, just always used to think, oh my God, like when I'm an adult, I feel like I'm gonna have made it when I have cleaners. Like, I don't wanna have to clean my own house. And now, weirdly, I enjoy it. And it's like a therapeutic experience, and I find it weirdly satisfying, and I feel like it's a small little accomplishment. And I know that may sound weird, but yeah, I just think it's funny. Like the things that I thought signified me having made it as a kid, really, I don't even want now, or don't mean anything to me. Number 8, a private life is priceless. I have really taken a step back from the need to share on social media, share parts of my life. And I really recognize it to be quite a privilege and quite a luxury. This may trigger some people, but I do think we live in a world where people are almost like prostituting their lives for clicks and for money and for like Insta fame. And it's almost like private lives are something that are almost not as desirable anymore. Like people actually want to put their lives out there. They want the attention. They want the eyes on them. They want the spotlight. They want the likes. They want the views. And I kind of got to a point this year where I no longer wanted that. I wanted to take a real big step back from sharing so much of my life online and my experiences online and the things that I do and get up to and have and are able to experience. And I've really enjoyed having more of a private life, and I think it's priceless, and I think it's kind of rarer these days. And I saw a meme. The quote was something like, people do things on social media that they rarely do in their real life and they rarely experience. I do things in my personal life that rarely make it to social media. And that really struck a chord with me, and I kind of realized in that moment that I really wanted that privilege of having things that were just mine and like my life and things that were shared between me and my friends and my family in real life. And there have been multiple things that I've done this year that old Caitlin would have been like, oh my God, like I've got to film everything. Like I've got to get the views. It's gonna just go viral. It's gonna like project me into Instagram fame. Everyone's gonna love it. Such a privileged life I lead. Like I'm gonna share it on social media so everyone can see. I was having these moments where I was like, oh my God, like I'm not posting this. I'm not posting this and it feels fucking cool. So number 9, 10, 11, and 12 are kind of just like short little points that were things that I actually did. I gardened, I started gardening, growing my own spinach, my own tomatoes, my own herbs. I don't really like growing flowers as much. I think it's just because I don't have the space and I can't like create beautiful bouquets, but food, I can do something with that. So I've actually really been enjoying gardening and growing food. The next one is I've really been enjoying cooking and baking more. I actually read a lot more as well. 2 years ago, I had a goal of reading 12 books a year. Last year, I had a goal of reading 24 books a year. And this year, I had a goal of reading 36 books a year. And I'm pretty sure like I'm on track to read 36 books this year. So I really started to prioritize reading and getting lost in the world of fiction and really kind of switching off of my phone and the TV more and enjoying reading before bed. And number 12, I spent more money and more time on things that I thought would be more beneficial to me and my growth and just more experiential as opposed to material things. And that was probably one of the biggest shifts for me. Number 13, I went through a stage where I felt like I needed to get rid of everything. Everything in my wardrobe, everything in my life that I wasn't obsessed with. And this was something that was really highlighted to me in my wardrobe, you know, with a lot of my designer pieces that I wasn't wearing enough or a lot. But as of about November this year, I decided I'm done. Okay, I'm done. I had a whole bag of things that I was trying to get rid of, and I went through that bag in November and I looked at some of the pieces that I wanted to get rid of and that I was trying to get rid of and that I was trying to sell. And I ended up putting them back in my closet. 1, because I had the room, and 2, because I thought, you know what, I don't hate this. I'm just not wearing it a lot, but I don't hate it. And I think 3, the most important thing was that it was just mainly for my sanity. A lot of these things that I wanted to get rid of because I wasn't obsessed with them were things that clearly nobody else was obsessed with either. And, you know, I was basically getting peanuts, like peanuts for them, like in terms of offers, you know, like very little offers, very little interest. An example being my petite Mao. I bought that bag for a really large sum of money. I probably worn it like 4 or 5 times. It's in almost brand new condition. That bag is currently on sale in Louis Vuitton in Australia for $9,000. I was thinking I'd try to sell it for 5. Do you think anybody wanted that bag for 5 grand? No. People were giving me offers like, oh, can I have it for 1,000? Can I have it for 2,000? And I'm like, you want a $9,000 bag that's in like great condition for $2,000? There's the door, honey. There's the door. I ended up putting a few things back on my shelf, a few pieces of clothing back in my wardrobe that I just have made peace with, that I'm not gonna sell them for peanuts. I'd rather hold on to them. I don't know what the future's gonna hold. I'd rather hold on to them instead of selling them for literal peanuts. Okay, so number 14. This is something again that I've done over the last few years. It's something I did again this year and something I see myself doing every year. It's a bit of a cleanup. I know some people don't like this and some people think it's mean. I don't necessarily think so. Maybe I'm just like a cold hard but I unfollowed a lot of creators. I stopped watching a lot of content creators' YouTube channels. I stopped following a lot of creators on Instagram. And it's only really because I just felt like I changed so much. I no longer felt like I could relate to a lot of the lives and the lifestyles and the one-dimensional kind of content that I was watching online. You know, it was just a lot of shopping and a lot of clothes. That's all well and good, and like if you enjoy that, that's great, but I just felt like there was so much of it on my feed, so much of it in my online space, and I didn't relate to that anymore. I didn't care about that anymore. And the funny thing is, I think, you know, parasocial relationships, one thing I realize is you think that you know these people and you really don't. Like some of these people I unfollowed, it's just kind of funny that they were weirdly such a big part of my, like, not my life, it sounds weird. When I'd open up my phone or when I'd, you know, open up YouTube, I'd watch their videos or I'd view their content on Instagram. And they just popped up in my life every day. And then all of a sudden you just unfollow them and they're gone and it's almost like they never existed. And that's when you realize that, oh yeah, that's like a form of a parasocial relationship. Like they were literally a part of my everyday. And then one day, like, poof, they're gone and it's almost like they never existed. I know some people think it's kind of mean to unfollow and like not watch people's content anymore, but I don't take it personally. I think it's healthy to clean out who you follow and whose content you choose to view on social media on a semi-regular basis. Number 15, I really focused on my financial health, and you may know my weekly budget planner that I've started doing. I'm gonna have that video linked. I did a whole video about my financial health and finally getting my financial together. So I will have that one listed up above if you're interested in checking that out. Going on from that, number 16, I also focused on my spiritual and my emotional health, two really large aspects of health that really before this year I never even considered. And I didn't actually realize until this year how much those areas of my life were lacking, which is actually, again, what led me to really fall down the rabbit hole of impulsive shopping and a shopping addiction, was the fact that I was really lacking in spiritual and emotional health. And I, again, have done a whole video about that, and I have a Venn diagram and some, I think like 30 questions that really help for you to understand whether or not your shopping is motivated by a lack of financial, spiritual, or emotional health. And I'm gonna have that PDF download linked in the description for you, and also in the comments if you wanna check that out. Number 17, I started getting outside more. I started going for more regular walks. Number 18, I withdrew from certain situations and certain circumstances in my life that I felt like were no longer benefiting me or weren't healthy. Number 19, I think I've talked about this again, but my music taste changed significantly this year. And I think I posted my Spotify Wrapped, and I'm not one of those people that post that because I know it's like kind of annoying online, but I only really posted it because I realized how much it changed as opposed to previous years. Taylor Swift has always been my number one, but this year she actually wasn't. She was number two. But every other year it's been like Taylor Swift and just like a bunch of hip hop artists. I really kind of stepped away from that music, don't get me wrong. There's still a few favorites that I love. Like I saw 50 Cent this year. I still love like some of his music. I mean, I'm not so into like the twerking naked girls on stage, but you know, yeah, anyway, I really started to fall in love with country music this year, contemporary country music. It's cool finding a whole new genre and just finding songs that you've never heard before, and you're just like, I'm obsessed, I love it. And I think that really contributed to probably the slowing down of my shopping addiction and my impulsive shopping tendencies, because a lot of rap music these days is so heavily focused on materialism, materialistic possessions. You know, a lot of them are rapping about brands, logos, Gucci this, Louis Vuitton that, cars, Lambos, Ferraris, this, that, and the other. You know, chains, diamonds, all those things. And, you know, switching up my music taste and really listening to music that's just a lot more wholesome, it really kind of helped to reprogram my brain, which is kind of cool. Number 20, short and sweet. I stopped withdrawing from my savings accounts. Number of months throughout the last few years that I was just constantly dipping into my savings account to pay off my credit card bills. Number 21, I learned that change is good. And it's crazy. Like this whole year, you may know, like I had a major shift on my YouTube channel and a major niche change. And I really kind of walked away, not really kind of, I fully like turned my back, closed the door on the luxury community. I remember getting certain comments like, she'll be back. Next month she'll be posting hauls again. And I knew deep down that wasn't gonna be the case, and I was right, it's not. Like, I have no interest in going back there. And truly, like, that was something that I was thinking about doing for months. And if I knew how great this was gonna feel, I wish I did it sooner. Number 22, I guess following a little bit on from that friendship point, but I realized and I recognized, and I guess I really learned how important community was. I ended up going back to a gym that I used to go to years ago. I found my way back to an old gym, and I just really realized in that moment how important community is, how important a feeling and a sense of belonging is. And I feel this at this gym, you know, I feel a sense of community. And I think it's really important that anywhere in our life outside of work, it's really great to find a sense of community, whether that be at a sports club, whether that be at a gym, whether that be at, you know, some hobby that you enjoy. I think it's really great to have a sense of community, and I feel that at the gym I go to. You know, I step in, we talk, we say hello, we genuinely interact with each other, and it's wonderful. And I've been through a lot of gyms in my 20s, and you know, sometimes the bigger gyms aren't always the best ones. You know, the big ones full of people. You think you might meet some great people there, but a lot of them are just filled with people who aren't really going to talk. They just want to get in and get out, and that's great. You know, maybe that's what you want. But I actually really like stepping into the gym and seeing friendly faces and, you know, saying, hey, how you going? And it's really nice. I think that sense of community is weirdly something that I took for granted in my early 20s when I was at that gym. I didn't realize how special it was. And now coming back to it in my 30s, I recognize how valuable that is, because you can't get that everywhere. Like that sense of community. Community is something that's not as valuable to people. It's almost like it's hard to foster community these days, and some places just really have it. So if you find a place like that, let's just hang on to that for dear life, because community is a beautiful thing, and feeling that belonging is a beautiful thing. Okay, number 23, last but not least, getting into the festive spirit. I know we've just left Christmas behind, but I recognize now that I want to kind of take that festive energy into every season of my life, every special occasion, every holiday. This was the year that I really enjoyed. I took my Christmas decorations up a notch. I decorated like early November, which I've never done before. And I think it's because I realized 2022, when I was in Scotland for Christmas, I didn't decorate, and I really missed that. And I guess I didn't realize how much it really lifts my spirits and how beautiful it is to really like appreciate those times of year. And I want to start bringing that into my life more. I want to foster that festive feeling and really kind of go with the seasons in that sense. And I guess this is also inspired by Lydia Elise Millen's book Evergreen, which I also read this year. But it's something that I'm trying to do, and I want to do more, is because I realize how good it makes me feel. And it's like those little pockets of joy that you find in decorating your house or in refreshing your house or getting into the seasons and the festive spirit. And I really recognized that this year around Christmas. It really made me, and it really cemented to me how much I enjoy decorating and how much I enjoy kind of getting into the spirit of certain holidays. And I want to get more into it. I want to grow those feelings and amplify that joy, if you will. I would love to hear from you in the comments down below. What are some really big takeaways of 2023 for you? I'm gonna have another few links for you right here. If you haven't had enough of me just yet, feel free to join me over there. Thank you so much for joining me in this video and joining me this year, especially through my transition. If you stuck with me and if you've enjoyed my content from my March kind of switch over and moving away from that niche, and you know, even if you found me this year, thank you so much for being here. It really means so much to me. Whether you've been here for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, longer, whether you've been here for 3 months, thank you so much for being here. It really means so much to me. Thank you so much for the last year. It's been amazing. I cannot wait for 2024 and what it has in store for us. I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below, and I'm gonna see you next year. That sounds so crazy to say, but I'll see you in 2024. Bye.